Well, I'm Stuart Goodinson, Managing Director of Lacy Executive Recruitment in the UK. We've been recruiting in the ag sector for 23 years. We know what we're doing. I've been running this business for over 6 years, and we have some interesting times at the moment to talk about. So I was rather hoping that in July 2023, we'd be talking about market conditions that were a bit different to 2022, but actually they're very similar to where we were. And really, we're still struggling in the UK with disrupted supply chains from the war in Ukraine, high energy costs, stubbornly high inflation and interest levels. And this is really putting pressure on profitability and growth in agricultural supply chain businesses. If you add to that a shortage of people and candidates at the base level of agriculture who are willing to do jobs, but also willing to make changes in their career, is stagnating the whole progression of people through the industry. What we're also noticing is that as we're suffering from these high costs and high production costs and falling margins, businesses are actually using that as an opportunity to reshape, to cost save, to change the way their business is functioning, to try and increase productivity and profitability. And for that means that some companies are releasing people. We're seeing redundancies, particularly at the senior manager level. There are many general managers, managing directors and CEOs that I've spoken to in the last month or two who are unfortunately finding themselves redundant. And really, those growth plans which are being put on hold, those restructures, those redundancies, often mean that recruitment is on hold. Expenditure on recruitment is on hold. So really, we're in a market that's difficult. We're in a market where companies aren't hiring as much as they were, and even if they are, the people that they wanted to hire aren't available. As I've said, a lot of companies are trying to deal with things by cutting costs and redundancies. Now, that could be an opportunity for a company. If you're looking particularly to hire some senior management, you may well get some very good skill levels at a reasonable rate. People are looking for positions at that level. You may get non-exec directors because they're available in the market. What we're also watching is that companies are doing their utmost to keep the good people that they've got. They really want to make the most of the talent pool that they have. And some of the things that we see as a result of that is that people who look to or threaten to leave companies are being offered counter offers. Many companies realize or think that it may be cheaper to pay £5,000 or £10,000 more to keep that person. But the reality is, and the statistics show, that people who accept a counter offer to stay at a company very often aren't there after 6 months anyway. So it could be a false economy to try and pay somebody to stay where they are. So really, as a result, what is a probably more focused thing to do, and we see many employers doing it as well, is really trying to improve their employer appeal, improve their conditions, improve their flexibility, and improve the conditions that people work in and are happy to work in, to try and maintain happiness in the workforce and keep people there. Probably one of the most effective things that we're seeing a lot of, though, is upskilling. Training and promotion of the people that you've got is probably more likely to keep people engaged and interested, and more importantly, staying with you and your business. One last thing which we tend to see quite regularly at the moment is, again, a relook at the job roles, the existing roles, and the functions that need to be done. And very often what companies are doing is effectively rejigging, maybe splitting a job, sharing it out between two people, maybe reallocating some of the workload to a different person to allow the other person to take on more responsibilities. So a reshaping and a realignment of job functions amongst the existing workforce and promoting some of those people is proving again to be very effective. But I would warn against giving busy people even more work, because that just might accelerate their desire to leave. If you're going to give more work to people, then I would caution on removing some of their other workloads to allow themselves the space to do the new stuff. Well, what we're noticing is that really staying put is probably number one. If you think about it, what candidates are worried about, what people are worried about, is ever increasing inflation rate, cost of living. People are worried about the rumours and the reality of mortgages going up. People are reluctant to move because taking on a new mortgage in a new area with a more expensive house is a financial burden that many people aren't ready to risk. So we see people staying put for the salary security. They know they've got an income, they know what that income is, and they can budget around it. So people who might think about trying to progress their career are probably got their hands tied and are staying where they are at the moment. And that's what makes it difficult for people to decide if they've really had enough or they really want to make a change in their career. They have to be very sure and committed to doing it. We also notice that for those reasons that candidates are being very choosy about where they go. And why that is because effectively, if they're committed and they're ready to make that move and they can financially do it, they have a choice. They have a choice of where they go. Because there are a lot of roles in the marketplace unfilled, they have a choice where to go. So candidates are being very, very picky about who they go to and where they go to. Probably the number one focus that we're finding from people, and it's almost the first question that we get asked when we're running a role and talking to potential people about it. They will ask about working conditions, they will ask about flexibility, they will ask about whether the role is hybrid, whether it's office-based, or whether, if it's office-based, whether it's movable hours. People post-COVID saw a different lifestyle, they worked in a different lifestyle balance, and they're looking to carry that on. So if you're an employer, you think very hard about insisting that people come into the office. If that's what you're going to do, then you may well not attract some of the talent that you were hoping to. Now, this is something, again, we've noticed, not just because of post-pandemic, but with ever increasing visibility on social media platforms. People want to move to companies that have very good, strong social media brands, employer brands that are well recognized and recognized as being good places to work. They're looking for good cultures, places that match their values, match their morals, and match their ways of working. And they're looking for security. If they've taken the risk and made the move and they still have those financial worries, they want security of that role going forward. So they will do research on your business. They will look at how you treated other workers. They will look at how other workers have progressed, and they will look at what people think about you on their social media platforms. And lastly, what they will also look for is where they can go in that business and how they can develop as a person in that business. And just to emphasize, what we're seeing a lot less of is that willingness for people to relocate to different parts of the country. It's an important factor for many businesses that they want people to live right next door to them. But in the culture that we're at now, where people are assuming that hybrid working can be a thing for them, relocation is fairly well down on the list of what people and candidates will do. If you like, my advice to businesses through all the experience that we've had in this market, and really, you as a business owner, as a recruiter, as a talent finder in a business, you really shouldn't be over specific about the exact job specification and skill set. Why? Well, you need to be flexible about the person and really finding a person that will fit into the culture, will fit into the way of working, and can do the job and will thrive in your environment is probably A, the most difficult thing to find, and B, the most valuable thing to find. So if you don't have to have an incredibly tight skill set yeah, be flexible, be open, and if you find that person, make the most of them. So many businesses are really good at selling their products to their customers. They're really good at marketing their products. They're really good at boasting about their products. They're really good at talking about their products on social media. Well, those companies should be as good at talking about their business, talking about their employer brand and how good they are as a business, as they are at trying to market their products, because that's what candidates are looking for. So sell your business to potential people. What's not working at the minute, and we see this time after time after time, when clients ring us up, they will have often advertised their role on general job boards, maybe even on specific job boards, maybe they've been on LinkedIn, maybe they've been on Facebook, and it really isn't working finding those people. They will have to deal with the wrong people, applicants that really are unsuitable, and that will take up their time. You will not find the person by advertising a role in a general way. It's just not where the market is at the minute. The people you want are most likely to be gainfully employed, to be not looking for a role, to be quite happy where they are, or too scared to move. That means they need a professional, friendly, and sure approach from somebody who knows what they're talking about. One of the things that we're spotting as well at the moment, because of that lack of maturity, because of the toughness in the marketplace, what's often a good idea if you're a business is to allow candidates, people that you're talking to at maybe the final stages, get them to talk to, get them to meet, get them to have a chat with, a coffee with existing employees, your current people. Our candidates are really interested to know who the real people are that they'll be working with, what their thoughts are, what their thoughts of the company are, and the way they work. And that is a very effective thing to do. It also demonstrates your commitment to the role. It also demonstrates that as a company, you're quite happy for people to meet your staff as well. And we find that creates a very positive environment and a very positive viewpoint of your business. Even if that candidate doesn't move forward, they will leave the process feeling good about your brand and publicizing your brand. If you're in that process, if you're a candidate and you're getting that process and you want to meet people from the business, ask them, say, is there any chance I can come along, meet some of the people that you work with? A good employer, good potential employer will be delighted to show off their people. So ask that question. And so really, you need to be patient. Be patient about finding that right person. But my goodness, if you find that right person, you need to move quickly. Because if somebody decides they're going to move, as I said before, they have a choice where to go. If somebody is thinking about moving to you, then they will also start talking to somebody else. So if you found that right person, you need to move quickly to keep them in your sights and to ensure that they do come to you at the end. And really what you will need to focus on is providing a strong and fair salary. Loading a package with bonus or with things like car allowance, great, but that's not what will buy the candidate. The candidate has high energy to deal with, mortgage costs to deal with, all of those things, and so they will look for a secure, safe, reasonable, fair base salary. The bonuses are bonuses. So don't, in my view, sell the new role based on what you could earn, sell it on what you will earn. But really don't underestimate what the value of flexible working is to a candidate. I would say, based on what we've seen, that a candidate will go for, let's say, £5,000 lower on a mid-range role, a mid-range management role. They will go for a salary that's £5,000 a year less if what they have is hybrid flexible working. So just bear that in mind. If you're able to deliver flexible and hybrid working, you may well be able to produce a candidate at a lower salary. Of course, you need to work with a partnership, in a partnership with a recruitment business from your sector, a recruitment business that knows what they're doing, a recruitment business that has been around performing constantly for 23 years, like Lacy Executive, a business that knows its sector, but almost more importantly, a business that knows you, your business, your beliefs, your morals, your cultures. Because finding a CV with a list of skills on is the easy bit. Finding a person that fits with you and your way of working, that's the difficult bit. People are important. CVs are just the front door to people. So work in partnership with a recruitment business that really understands people and can bring the right people to your business. And a partnership approach is far more likely to deliver the best people to you, far more likely to deliver people who will stay, far more likely that will deliver the growth for you and for themselves. So when you're talking about recruitment, think about people, not CVs. So if you're a business, what actions do I recommend that you do? And I would go produce a wide specification for your job description so that you can look at people with different bases and then maybe shape the job a little bit when you've found a brilliant person for that culture in your business. Think about the type of people who already thrive in your organization. Think about what makes them tick. Think about what they like. Think about the way that they work. Talk to us, talk to your recruiter, explain about those people and what they're like, and then that helps them to match those sort of cultures and those sorts of ways of working. Look very strongly at flexible working and a good base salary. The thing that will deliver you the most value is working closely with a recruitment business that understands you, your business, the sector, and the people within it. I would say that, of course. What you should be doing is realizing that if you're ready to move, you're committed to move, there are opportunities out there. Not all of them advertised, but again, there are plenty of opportunities. So if I was you, I'd be picking up the phone and talking to the likes of us at the Lacy Executive, because we will know where there are opportunities that aren't being advertised. Think really carefully about what it is that you want to do, and when you do, commit to it. Don't fall into the trap of deciding you're going to leave, accepting a job, and then being given the false flattery of a counter offer from your existing employer. I've seen it go badly wrong so many times. The reason you thought about leaving, the reason that you picked up the phone and decided that company was no longer for you, the reason why you were unhappy, the reason why you felt undervalued will still be there in 6 months once you've spent that small salary increase. And I'm not just saying this because I think it happens. We see this day after day. So yeah, be serious, commit, and don't be flattered by a counter offer. If you were worth £5,000 more today, why weren't you worth it last week? Think about that. And be open and honest about what you're looking for. And my advice to a candidate is, it's as much about what you want from your life, your social life, your family life. It's as much about what you want from that and what that job will allow you to do as it is about the function of the job and where you want to take your career. So think deeply, openly, and honestly, and you talk to us and you will find an opportunity out there. When we're talking about commitment to changing roles, changing jobs, changing companies, then we really need to think about commitment from the start to the finish. What we see and hear almost on a daily basis here at the Lacy Executive is people who are keen to move, people who get to the offer stage, people even accepting an offer. And then what we can hear are often partners, wives, husbands, boyfriends, girlfriends, children, family members in the background going, should you really be moving now? Have you thought about what your budget is? Is this job safe? Maybe you should think about staying where you are. Now, to deal with that pressure at a very big stress point is quite tough. That stress point of thinking, I'm going to take this job, I'm going to make the commitment, dealing with that background noise, that background pressure is a really tough one. I would argue you really need to tackle that much, much earlier on. You need to tackle that doubt from that you might get from partners and family members. Tackle that doubt, have that discussion, very early on in the process, because if you leave it late, then I've seen this happen where what happens is that there's a big fallout. One person wants to leave, family members want them to stay, and there's a rift. And also you're disappointed because you didn't make the move, the company's disappointed because they didn't find the person, everybody loses. So my strong advice, if you're a candidate and you think of leaving, tackle that issue before you start working. If you're a business thinking about taking somebody on, ask them about commitment, ask them questions to demonstrate their commitment all the way through the process, like we would do at Lacy. Don't leave it until the last minute before you allow the doubt to creep in. So if you're a candidate and you are committed to moving, one thing that you might want to think about is flexibility. What we're seeing and hearing a lot of from people is that they want to work 100% from home, or they might want to go into the office one day a week or twice a month. In reality, you may well need to be much more flexible than that. In reality, many more companies are now moving more to either a hybrid model or to a fully in the office model. Now, I think if you're a candidate and what you want to do is do 100% hybrid, you may be left high and dry. Or if you want to be 100% working from home, you may now be left without any options to go forward. So really be flexible and think about what your lifestyle, what your work-life balance need to be. Don't be rigid about wanting to be home 100% of the time or hybrid 100% of the time. Be open, be flexible, and be honest. So please, that's my information for now. I'd like to think in 6 months' time I might be talking about the market being in a very different place, and that things are much more healthy for the ag industry. And I look forward to talking about that if is the case. Thank you.